All right, Saul Almeida, Bobby REARDANZ, and I apologize to the fine people of Bourbonnais, Illinois, not Bourbonnais. The S is always silent at the end mark. Now let's get ready to get it on here. Round 1 of 3 rounds in the lightweight division, and Saul Almeida came in yesterday at 151, so he almost actually got down to his 145 weight, so perhaps he met halfway, but it seems like he's very adept at cutting that weight at the last minute. A little bit lighter, and you can definitely tell in the build of these two fighters that REARDANZ is a little bit of a bigger size, but Saul, those quick kicks, he just gets those up there so quickly. Now, left hand by Almeida, and it looks like he caught him, and now he's delivering those kicks. He's coming out swinging early on. Both fighters delivering those kicks early on, Tyson.
Yeah, I mean, they're both staying active. It looks like they both want to stand and trade.
Was that a spinning back kick there by REARDANZ?
So far, some exciting action, unlike anything we've seen in the first 3 fights. The first 3 fights, we saw opponents going for early takedowns, but right now, like Tyson said, they appear to be content just trading blows with one another, and we'll see if something develops from this early on as we get to the 1-minute mark of the opening round.
Now, that front kick that we famously saw Enson Silva knock Vitor Belfort out with. You see Saul through a couple of those to start. You kind of touched upon it, Mike. Saul came in kind of light for this.
Yeah.
He was actually preparing for a bout next week, one at a featherweight, but it actually got scratched. So, you know, he was lucky enough to get on the CES card, and CES fans lucky to have him here.
You know, REARDANZ's kicks are more toward the leg, and Saul is just going for the jugular early on, but like you said, like that Anderson Silva kick, he just gets that leg up there so quickly, and you don't even see it coming, just like we saw at the UFC fight a couple of weeks back.
It's definitely a fun style to watch.
Almost had a leg takedown by Almeida, but he got back on his feet, wasn't able to get it, and he's back to trading blows again with REARDANZ. And REARDANZ trying to soften those legs up a bit. We saw at one point Almeida try to deliver a flying knee. Nice reverse kick again by REARDANZ. He is pretty quick, much quicker than I expected or anticipated. 3 minutes to go in this opening round. Saul Almeida and Bobby REARDANZ. And surprisingly, for 2 fighters with not a lot of knockouts, this fight's been stand-up the whole time. I thought this would go to the ground early.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. You have 2 guys that are primarily ground fighters, and then they'll end up standing and trading for 3 rounds. And so you just never know going into a fight what the strategy is going to be to each guy. And sometimes it happens to be they both want to stand. Oh, he landed that spinning kick.
Saul kind of points at him and says, "You got me on that one."
And right before that, looked like Saul, it was a switch kick there.
Yeah.
A Superman punch attempt by REARDANZ. Looked like REARDANZ connected with left, but
yeah, he got a little wild there, and Almeida got the takedown.
Saul's able to get him down there. I believe it's the butterfly guard.
And now REARDANZ trying to deliver some elbows and just trying to break that hold, but Almeida's got him wrapped up sort of like a spider, you would say. He's gripping him pretty tightly here. And we'll see now how this fight transitions with 2 minutes to go in the opening round. We finally hit the ground for the first time, surprisingly. And now Almeida got some leverage to see if he can pin those shoulders down, perhaps with his knee, but he isn't able to do that. And REARDANZ now kicking out, now fighting on the ground. Almeida trying to get in, and it's not
for straight ankle lock there.
Nice move.
This is kind of a dangerous submission, isn't it, Tyson?
Yeah, you do give up position. I mean, but he's got it pretty tight here. You know, he has to look to make a boot with his left leg and try to come up on top, but you know, if you don't successfully get it, you do give up position, and then now you're on the bottom. It's a high risk, high reward type move.
Yeah, we see REARDANZ taking that risk now, trying to get the foot on top. If he can push Almeida down, he can break this hold. And like Tyson said, maybe he gets the upper hand toward the end of this opening round. We got 1:16 to go.
Still in there.
Not quite as tight as he had it earlier on in the hold.
Looks he's out.
And now he's out of it. And now Almeida trying to get back on top again as he was previously in the round.
Yep, and Almeida back into REARDANZ's guard. I've always enjoyed the guard position anyway, because obviously the guy on the bottom, despite, you know, if you look at it, it almost looks like he's losing the round, but there's so much you can do, so many submissions you can throw up. You see REARDANZ right now working on a high guard. It looks like he's trying to work a rubber guard here to try to immobilize Saul.
Yeah, he's got a grip on his own ankle here, Tyson. What's he trying to do here?
It's like an Eddie Bravo thing. It's the rubber guard. Right now, that'd be called mission control. It just keeps their posture. There's not a lot you can do with it, but some guys are really good with it. You know, like Eddie Bravo, the Sean Bollingers of the world, can really use this effectively. BJ Penn uses this all the time. You'll see Donald Cerrone use it. Doesn't always amount to many submissions, but it really frustrates the guy on the top. and it keeps their posture down.
20 seconds to go in the opening round. The hold broken momentarily, but Saul Almeida back on top for the final 10 seconds here. And I would say, for the most part, you got to give that round to Saul Almeida. Looks like he had control for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely pushed the pace in the stand-up. I mean, both guys landed some kicks and some crazy kick attempts, which is cool. But Saul, you know, he got the top positions, the takedowns, and a nice, I believe, ankle lock submission attempt.
Well, we finally get to the second round tonight at Road Rage, so thank goodness for that. We are now heading into round 2 of this bout. Both fighters taking a little bit of a breather in between. And interestingly enough, the last time Saul Almeida fought here, he won the first round against Pete Jeffrey, and it was in the second round where Pete Jeffrey caught him with the guillotine and submitted him, actually had him unconscious momentarily. So we'll see if Almeida's approach in the second round changes, knowing in the back of his mind this is how he got beat the first time around. So very interesting opening round, a lot of stand-up action, which I did not expect from either fighter. But as we progressed toward the end of the round, Almeida got back on the ground where we think both fighters are more comfortable and definitely took control at that point. Definitely, I think you have to give that round to him. We'll see how REARDANZ comes out in the second round and approaches it, if he's going to try to keep it stand-up or if he wants to get it to the ground himself.
I'd like to see Bobby try to get on top and see how he can do from there. I mean, he had really good jiu-jitsu off his back. I was pretty impressed with that.
Absolutely. He broke out of a couple of holds there, and like you said, did spend most of the round on his back instead of being on top with some leverage. So here we go, round 2 in the middleweight division. Saul Almeida and Bobby REARDANZ of Bourbonnais, Illinois. And again, Almeida coming out with those leg kicks, trying to spot an opening. And as expected, REARDANZ going for the lower body. Oh, what a kick by Almeida. He caught him with the right leg, but REARDANZ stood up to it, did not go down. I thought he might hit the canvas with that one. And now here's Almeida with a great leg takedown. And he's got REARDANZ back to the cage.
Yeah, I was going to say, he hit REARDANZ square in the face there. It definitely doesn't feel good, but REARDANZ kind of bounced back. But Saul was able to use that to his advantage and get REARDANZ right up against the cage. But I mean, in this position, it seems Tyson, you know, I think one of the main things you want to do is obviously walk up the cage, right?
Yeah, they call it wall walking. You want to try to get your back to the cage if you can and try to get up. But there's that little window where you expose yourself, and there's openings for like elbows like Saul's doing now.
Almeida is just pounding on REARDANZ. REARDANZ is blocking most of the shots, but at least half of those are getting through, and they're definitely going to cause some damage. And we'll see if this wears him down. If he can pin those shoulders down, he may have some real clean openings. And we'll see for once if Almeida has some knockout ability, he can actually get a TKO at some point.
Yeah, some nice ground and pound.
For it. Yeah, he really is.
And you know, Saul, coming up your first loss, I mean, obviously he has to be motivated. It's been a while since that time. He's obviously let it sink in and get his training here done, and you know, he's looking good thus far.
Again, a strong showing in this round. So far, this is all Saul Almeida in the second round. REARDANZ just trying to keep his guard up. I think, like you said, Tyson, trying to get his back to the cage and maybe walk up the cage to get out of this hold. But Almeida not letting him do it thus far. He's maintaining his leverage. And you see the blood now on REARDANZ's face. He has been opened up pretty badly here.
See REARDANZ trying to attempt a wall walk here to try to reverse position.
Now REARDANZ coming back with some elbows of his own. Almeida trying to deliver those short right hands. Both fighters exchanging a bit, but Almeida's got the upper hand again. And it seems like he is just wearing REARDANZ down at this moment. So at this point, we could see a little bit of a breakout here. If he can kick Almeida off him for just a second, he can get back on his feet and maybe get back to a stand-up game. But again, Almeida just maintaining his leverage, Tyson, really doing a nice job here.
Yeah, he's playing a really tight top game. You know, he's coming up, 1-2, some elbows, and then he gets tight again, regains his position. He's not giving it any space. So Bobby's having some trouble escaping.
Oh, big
huge elbows.
Oh, Almeida just bringing the pain.
You can hear those. Hear those in our microphone. They not sound friendly. I also like Tyson, what he's doing here is to take him down in your own corner. I think, how important is that for a fighter?
It's huge. If you just listen to your corner, they can see things that you can't see, and you have every advantage. You usually can't hear his corner. You're right there getting the instruction, and it can distract the guy too, because he's listening to your corner as well.
That's a good point, guys. You can definitely hear Almeida's corner, and you can hear him. They're very vocal at this point. And REARDANZ is just a bloody mess at this point. 1:49 to go in the second round. He's able to kick off that cage, but a nice job of Almeida just bringing it right back around and getting his back against the cage again. And they have been in this position for most of this round, and we've seen throughout this entire round, Saul Almeida just delivering haymakers, elbows, and he's getting a lot of those shots in, more than you would think, and you can see it on REARDANZ's face at this point. A minute and a half to go here, guys, so this could very possibly get to the third round if Almeida is unable to get a submission.
And again, we see REARDANZ trying to isolate Saul a little bit with the rubber guard here. I mean, obviously when you're in that position, Tyson, I guess one thing you want to do is to avoid what's happening right now is your opponent, stop your opponent from posturing up, raining down elbows.
Yeah, the rubber guard, it's not super offensive in MMA, but it definitely stops him from posturing up and doing any damage. It's more of a stalling technique, but there are submissions from it at the, if you're really, really good with it. But Saul seems to be defending perfectly.
You got to give REARDANZ a lot of credit. I'm sure he is gassed at this point, but he's still managing to keep his guard up just enough to not let Almeida get too many clean shots consecutively, because if the referee sees 4 or 5 clean blows land, he may put a halt to this fight. And REARDANZ is, at the very least, keeping him from being able to do that, and that's what's kind of keeping him in this fight at this point. And now we've got 30 seconds to go in round number 2, so it appears, barring any tap-outs or knockouts at this point, that we will get to a third round, which is not surprising with Saul Almeida, who's been down this road many times before.
Yeah, Saul, he's definitely pouring it on REARDANZ here. Got to give props to REARDANZ from hanging in there. As I said, those elbows, they definitely sounded vicious.
10 seconds in the round, guys, 10 seconds.
Oh, REARDANZ is a backhand. An old school blow there, and he actually gets some leverage, and he kicks Almeida off him for a second. And we almost had another leg lock there at the end, but time did run out on Almeida. Nice job by REARDANZ at the end, at least just kind of pushing him off momentarily.